Fan heat boils over on General Hospital. Drew's lie, Jason's threat, and one explosive confession. General Hospital fans are getting angrier by the minute. They need something to happen, and they need it to happen sooner rather than later. A fan named June has a plan for how to blow up all of Port Charles. Willow, Caitlin McMullen, was devastated when she flew all the way to Germany, only to learn that Michael, Rory Gibson, didn't want to see her. At which point, Willow promptly got back on a plane and flew home. She didn't even stick around to see if Michael might be convinced to change his mind. Oh well, she thought, that's that. We can never reconcile or even talk anything out again. Drew, Cameron Matheson, of course, completely agreed with her assessment. The only fly in the ointment was that Willow didn't know Drew had paid off the nurse to lie to Willow and tell her Michael had cut her out of his life. And he paid her to tell Michael his wife never came for a visit or even asked about him. Isn't it time for Willow and Michael to find that? Willow can start by asking Michael why he refused to see her. Michael can respond by saying he was never told she'd visited. Neither one is a genius, but even they should be able to suspect something suspicious is up. And then naturally, Jason, Steve Burton, will swoop in to play hero. Sonny Morris Bernard is otherwise occupied. He'll track down the nurse and blackmail her into coming to Port Charles and spilling all the beans. Perhaps a good time would be during Willow and Drew's wedding. Does anyone here have any just cause for why these two should not be joined together in holy matrimony? That would be a heck yeah. Port Charles is no stranger to scandal, betrayal, and bombshell confessions. But this week, General Hospital fans are experiencing emotional whiplash as the show delivers one fiery twist after another. The drama has reached a boiling point thanks to Drew's calculated lie, Jason's cold warning, and a confession that could shatter lives forever. Buckle up, because the fallout is just beginning. Drew's lie rocks Port Charles. Drew Kane has always been a man who tried to do the right thing, at least in the eyes of those who trusted him. But fans are reeling as the truth begins to unravel. Drew's been living a lie, and it's not just any fib. This deception reaches into the heart of the Quartermain family and the Corinthos clan, threatening to destroy everything he's built. It all began when Drew and Willow grew closer while Michael was distracted by Sonny's endless chaos and Nina's legal maneuverings. At first, it seemed innocent, two people finding comfort in shared grief and a desire to protect their families. But things took a turn when Drew and Willow shared a steamy moment behind closed doors, one that went far beyond what either of them expected. Now Drew's desperately trying to keep the truth buried. He's told Willow to stay silent, for her sake, for Michael's, for Wiley and Amelia. But the guilt is consuming her, and it's only a matter of time before the secret slips. Still, Drew is clinging to the lie that nothing happened, even though the heat between him and Willow could have melted the walls of the Metro Court Suite. Jason's threat sends chills. Enter Jason Morgan, cool, calculating, and more dangerous than ever since his mysterious return from the shadows. When Jason picked up on the strange tension between Drew and Willow, his instincts kicked in. A former hitman doesn't miss the signs of betrayal, and Jason's been watching, quietly. In a chilling confrontation that had fans shouting at their screens, Jason cornered Drew at the gym. What started as brotherly sparring ended in a tense exchange that hinted at the storm ahead. "You've got something to say to me. Say it now," Drew snapped, beads of sweat glistening on his brow. Jason's voice was low, measured. "I'm not the one with something to confess. But if I find out you hurt Michael or Willow, I won't be so forgiving next time." The message was crystal clear. Jason knows something's off, and he won't hesitate to strike if the truth surfaces. Fan reactions were explosive online, with many praising the classic Jason intensity and wondering how long Drew can keep under pressure. Willow's always been the moral compass of her family, a mother, a nurse, a cancer survivor who stands for love and honesty. But this week, the pressure finally broke her. After weeks of trying to pretend like her passionate encounter with Drew never happened, she could no longer carry the weight alone. In a devastating scene at the Quartermain mansion, Willow broke down to Brooklyn, who had just returned from her honeymoon with Chase. "I made a mistake, Brooklyn," Willow sobbed, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean for it to happen, but I cheated on Michael. With Drew." Brooklyn's jaw dropped, her stunned silence broken only by the sound of Wiley's laughter in the next room, a cruel contrast to the devastation unfolding. The confession sent shockwaves not just through Brooklyn, but across Port Charles as word inevitably began to spread. Brooklyn promised to keep the secret, for now, but warned Willow that secrets this big never stay buried for long. Michael's suspicion grows. Meanwhile, Michael Corinthos, long the golden boy with a dark edge, has been dealing with his own share of turmoil. His father's erratic behavior, Christina's plea to cut ties with Sonny, and Nina's constant boundary pushing have consumed his energy. But this week, his attention shifted to his wife. Willow's odd behavior, her guilt-ridden glances, and her sudden evasiveness have not gone unnoticed. In a heart-wrenching moment at the hospital, Michael cornered her during her break. "You've been distant lately," he said softly. "Is there something you need to tell me?" Willow froze. The pain in her eyes was undeniable. But before she could answer, a code blue was called, and she rushed away, leaving Michael standing there with a pit in his stomach. Ava holds the wild card. As if things weren't already spiraling, Ava Jerome just happened to be at the Metro Court the night Drew and Willow's rendezvous occurred. She's been keeping the knowledge in her back pocket, but Ava is nothing if not strategic. With Sonny slipping further from power and Jason back in town, Ava is recalculating her alliances. If Drew or Willow cross her in any way, she now has the perfect nuclear option. Expose their affair and watch their world go up in flames. Ava's sly smile in Friday's episode said it all. She knows, and she's not afraid to use it. Fan frenzy erupts. Social media has been ablaze with passionate responses. Some fans are furious with Drew for betraying his brother. Others are sympathizing with Willow's internal battle. And many are praising Jason's quiet dominance and loyalty to Michael. Here's a snapshot of the reactions. At Obsessed 93, Drew better sleep with one eye open. Jason doesn't bluff. #Gate. At Port Charles Queen, Willow finally cracked. I knew it couldn't stay secret forever. Brooklyn's face was priceless. #General Hospital. At Ma Princess Den. Ava is watching it all go down like the queen she is. I live for this chaos. #Gage. What happens next? Now the million-dollar question, how long can this stay under wraps? With Jason circling closer to the truth, Ava holding dangerous leverage, and Willow spiraling under guilt, it seems inevitable that this secret will explode. When it does, Michael's fury could rival his father's worst tantrums, and Jason may be forced to choose between Drew's blood and Michael's trust. Will Drew preemptively confess and salvage his dignity? Will Willow come clean to Michael before Ava pulls the pin on her grenade? Or will Jason deliver his own brand of justice, quiet, swift, and unforgettable?